Happy Tuesday morning, artists. Thank you for joining me for a Draw With Me session. This is Beth Cooper. This week we're working on a special project for Mother's Day. At the end of the week on Friday, we are going to draw a flower wreath, and on the inside of it we're going to write I love you, or Happy Mother's Day, or Thank you, Mom, or You are my sunshine, or whatever it is that you'd like to do. We're doing folk art flowers, which means that some of these flowers aren't necessarily ones that you would see in a garden. They're more stylized, kind of made up. And it's yesterday we did ones that started sort of like a sunflower or a daisy. So all of them had circles in the middle, or sort of in the middle, that inspired us to draw these flowers. Today we're going to do flowers that look sort of like tulips. And so all of them have that kind of the tulip shaped flowers to them, the petals to them. And like we did yesterday, I want to start with kind of a vine. Kind of helps us to divide our page a little bit. Just go ahead and make a big curly line like that, and that gives us space in order to draw. And this is the way we're going to start our wreath as well, so that we can kind of have places to place our flowers. Now for a tulip, of course the tulip flower is going to start with, it's going to have kind of that middle petal, and then the other two around it are going to go out on either side, and we're going to add to that as well. So the first one that we're going to do, we're going to start with a middle petal that looks sort of like a teardrop shape like this. And then on either side, as I said, you're going to have those two that are going to come out like this. There's one on one side, and then another one that comes out like this, and then comes out on the other side. And you see what happens in here is you have these pretty shapes that happen that you don't have to keep if you don't want to, but when you're coloring them, you could color those in different ways. And I also like to, I want to connect my flower to the vine, and I like to add this little bit at the bottom like this. And then at the top too, I'm going to put a couple of little circles. This is just something I saw when I was doing my research, and adds a little bit of interest to the flower. Now everything that we draw today is going to be similar to this. It's going to have these kind of open petals like that, and there's just variations on the theme. So the next one that I'm going to do is going to start with that petal. Now to add some interest to it, I'm going to have some that are facing up and some that are facing down. If it bothers you to have them facing down, you can certainly turn your page and have all of them facing up. I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to start again with that middle kind of teardrop shape like this. And then on either side, I'm going to open it up a little bit like this, to add these kinds of petals in here. And then in between that, I'm going to put some more little teardrop shapes like this. Okay? And down at the bottom, I'm going to add, instead of having these little curly Q kinds of things, I'm going to add some that look like this. And out the top, again, I'm going to have those kind of dots. Okay? And add it to the vine. All right, another one that I want to do starts with a circle like this, and from the circle then I'm going to do my teardrop shape like that, and then I'm going to put in some loops like this. And again, those petals that kind of go out to the side that have the points on them. And then in between, more petals that go off to the side that have the points on them. Isn't that interesting how you can kind of be working with the same sorts of shapes and come up with such variety? I really like that. And then instead of having these go straight, they're going to cross each other like this. Go out like that. Isn't that a pretty flower? All right, that's a lot of very similar sorts of flowers. Now, instead of just having big flowers like this, like we did with our daisies up above, you want to have some smaller flowers as well to kind of fill in those spaces. Okay, so when you have smaller flowers too, you're probably going to want to have them in a cluster instead of just having one. So let's go ahead and add a little cluster of flowers out here. And these are really, really simple. They start with the kind of this U shape like this. And then you're just going to do a zigzag across the top. And again, let's do another one. Little U shape like this, and then a zigzag across the top. And since it's a cluster, we would just continue to add those kinds of flowers to our vine, like that. Now, one that kind of throws me often, because most of these things, the opening goes away from the vine. One of them that I really like has these openings going back towards the vine, and it kind of looks like the petals have opened completely. So what I want to do is I want to have these openings, let's see, make sure I do it right. They're going back towards the vine like this, and this, and this, and I'm going to continue this down like that. Now, because this is actually, see how it makes it look like it's totally open, I'm going to add 3 little lines like that. I think those are pretty. And then one more kind up here. It's going to be exactly this, except that, let me just show you the difference. When you have that U shape, like that, and you finish off that petal, and then you can have those 3 lines going out from here. There's the difference between the two. You see the petals look like they're going forward on this one, and the petals look like they're going back on that one. I think those are really cool. Now you can do a wide variety of flowers like this. I think this is a good number to start with. And remember, we're going to do leaves later on, so we're not going to bother with leaves today. And also, like I told you yesterday, you add interest to your drawing when you add a difference in line width, or what we call line weight. And so on some of these areas, you want to color in with your pen even before you add color. You want to use your pen to add some variety. If you're drawing something and you don't like exactly the way it looks, you can certainly change it before you start inking in. I would suggest that, like that. So for instance, I might go back in here and I might color in this section with the pen, and this section. Like that. Or come over here. Maybe I want to color in these parts down here. See, it adds interest to it. And these simple little tulip shapes. These little ones remind me of bluebells. Definitely would color those in blue. Really pretty, soft blue. Okay, so for today, that's all we're going to do. Make sure that all of this is fully dry before you go back with your eraser and erase all of these out. And then you can choose which ones of these you want to use on your wreath, flower wreath for your Friday project. See you tomorrow.